Commissioner Hightower.
Here.
Commissioner Webb.
Here.
Commissioner Goss.
Here.
President Pro Tem, Mayor Pro Tem Ranella.
Here. Is there any additions or subtractions to the regular meeting of June the 12th? Okay, hearing none, those will be approved. All right, looks like we got some guests in our audience, and we'll start out with the first one on our agenda, Rece Roper.
Hello, I'm Rece Roper, and I'm here tonight following up on my last two visits here to the City Council meetings of my brick project. I met with Clodagh and Ziegler Engineering about this project, and I've also spoken with Scott Patterson at American Monument about engraving these bricks, and he is willing to do so. We've also talked about doing more than 56 bricks, so I think we can sell more than just 56, so we hope to. So I'm basically just wanting to know if I can get the permission from all of you to start selling these bricks. Here's like a revised brick order form.
We haven't seen it. We will actually lay these bricks in the road? Yeah. Okay. Rece, have you decided what you're going to do with the money? I know that the money's going to come here, and you know, what was, did Mr. Patterson give you a cost for? He said we're doing $100 per brick, and he said he's getting $20 out of the brick, each brick. Okay. All right. So I'm just giving it all back to you guys. You do what you want with it. Okay. Well, sir, I mean, no, I think it'd only be fair if you, I mean, since you brought this project on, is there some charity that you may want to think of, and you don't have to do it today, that, yeah, think about it, and I think this would be a great thing to give to a local charity. Yep. Okay. Think about it. Yeah. Okay. Guys, you got any questions?
Good job putting this together.
Yeah. I think we need to move forward, and somebody make a motion to allow Mr. Roper to proceed.
I'll make that motion.
Good. Yeah. Second. Okay. Motion by Commissioner Goss, second by Commissioner Webb. Hearing no questions, call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Pro Tem Ranella.
Yay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Brian, are we going to do the agenda, or are we going to do audience to visitors?
I'm gonna
Anthony.
I'm gonna allow the visitors to address the council right now.
Anthony, Glenn asked if you would hold off on the
Market.
Yeah, till he gets here.
That's fine. Okay, we got some visitors in the crowd. You in the back corner? No? Nothing. Observing, okay, all right. You too? Okay.
My name's Leon Kerr, and I live on Fossey Road in Marion. I've come up here for one thing, to clear up a misunderstanding. I think it was probably between Mr. Goss and I. We discussed he called it a driveway, I call it a road beside my house, trying to get something done about the paving or something on it over the phone, and I also talked to him about trying to alleviate a problem of flooding in a ditch there beside, it's on Fossey Road. So during the discussion, Doug and I got into a discussion. Isn't that pretty accurate, John? And while that was going on, they began talking about the road, and I was trying, my basement flooded because of this ditch stopping up with leaves. I'm 75 years old, and I've cleaned it out for 20 years, but I've gotten to the point where I have a real serious back issue. As a matter of fact, I'm going for surgery this month on the back again, and I'm not having too good luck keeping the leaves out of it. It cost me $6,600 to fix that basement back. And what the deal was is I have a drain around my basement, and it drains out to the ditch, which everybody in the world, that's the way they do it. And the ditch stopped up, backed up the drain into my basement and flooded it for the first time in 20 years. So I was wanting that changed. Jackie Stewart and I had gotten together. I don't know if you know who I am or not. John Bradley was my brother-in-law, the ex-city superintendent of streets. So I had talked to John about that, and he told me to get a hold of Jackie Stewart, which Jackie Stewart has since left the city. And we worked out what I thought was a feasible plan to put a concrete box in and somewhere or another to keep the leaves from stopping up the ditch. So when we did that, well, then Jackie quit and that all stopped. So Johnny and I talked about that a little bit that day. Well, in the meantime, while we were talking about that, John or Doug one brought up the road, the driveway. And Doug had promised a long time ago to come down there and cut a little ditch beside it because it's washing out real bad. We've got places washed out in it 2 foot wide and 1.5 foot deep. And I said, could you just come down here with a grader and cut out a ditch? Well, he said he would, but he didn't ever come. So Doug and I wasn't getting along that day, and they kept bringing up the road. And I finally said, I'm not worried about the road. I want to talk about this ditch. Isn't that pretty accurate, John?
That's pretty close.
And I said,
I was under the impression that we had graded, that's French, had graded that road though, so the water would flow off. You're saying he never did that?
Not when I was home.
Well, I didn't say he cut a ditch. I'm saying he graded
I've never seen but one time a city truck there, and I asked a guy because I have a handicapped wife and I can't get in and out of my driveway when it snows, and I always assumed that that was a road, being it was an addition that was given permission to be there by the city. So I just assumed. Well, apparently there's some. Johnny says it's a
public access. Public access area.
Yeah, I think you used a different term at that time. Easement, I think.
Yeah, well, it's actually public
Yeah.
access.
But anyway, so we need something done with the road, and Kenny Crabtree moved in up there, and he built a house, and I put 184 ton of gravel on that road myself. And then Adam Flossie, he moved in up there, and he needs access to his house from time to time, of course. And it's pretty difficult in the winter to even get up and down it, especially when they had a big trash truck running in and out there, down to the cul-de-sac. That's some pretty deep ruts, and I paid to get that fixed. And I would like for someone to make an effort to get this city ditch repaired. Jackie Stewart and I said we'll build a concrete box, we'll put a grate over the top of it, there's a ditch coming in the other side, we'll run a tile 10 foot down, a pretty good sized tile, put a grate over it to where the leaves can't get in there, and it'll keep the ditch open. Well, Johnny said, yeah, but if it does that and it stops up, it's going to run over the road. Well, he's right. It's been doing it for 20 years, so I guess it will. But at least it would give me an opportunity to be able to keep my drain open, and I would try to keep that tile open if I could. And I think I could do that, but getting down that ditch and digging those leaves out of that tile, I can't do it anymore. Is there any question? I've tried to cover this as much as I could. I've got some notes, And I've even made some notes about what Jackie told me he was going to do, and he was going to do this just right away. And I don't know why Jackie left, but it seemed to be really sudden because I was all about standing in the driveway waiting on him, and he wasn't there. So whatever the deal.
Well, I do know in response to the grate and the leaves that Doug has agreed to do that, and he has that on his schedule to do that. That's what you said would take care of stopping the drain.
But here's
So
the thing, John.
he has that scheduled.
Well,
But,
and,
we got a lot of things to do.
oh, I know, he explained that to me in detail that day in the road, if you remember. He is wanting to do it the way that Jackie and I thought it ought to be done, and I was trying to convince him to do that day, and he more or less told me I didn't know what I was doing, I think, is the way I understood it.
Well,
But-
I don't know about that. All I know is you're concerned about that grate is on his schedule, because we agreed to do that when I was out there. So other than that, I don't know what we've not done. I know that he has, in the past, has graded that gravel area. I know that for a fact.
Well,
I don't know about cutting a ditch. No, I don't say cut a ditch, but he has graded is where the water.
I've never seen it happen, John.
Well, they've been there. Yeah.
There was one time that there was a serious problem in the roadway, and what it was is the city came down there and did something, and I don't know what they did, but they took quite a bit of the gravel out, and then it made a real big hole.
Yeah.
And I bought some gravel and put it in there, and then John said, well, if we did it, we'll fix it. So and then Doug came down there one day and dug out a big hole and dumped gravel in it and did stop the erosion of the road in that particular area.
Yeah.
So
Well, the ditch area, that's your main concern is the ditch, and we had.
the flooding of my basement is the main.
Well, that's because of the leaves and stopping up.
Yes, sir.
We ought to talk that over when we were there and agreed, I thought, that the solution was to put the grate, keep the leaves out, and would stop.
Well,
Yeah, I thought we'd agreed to do that.
we did agree to do that, but
That's what he has on his schedule.
okay, but if we don't do something about the ditch coming from up by Adam's house, it's going to wash in there anyway. And that's the reason I wanted the 10-foot tile, and that's what Jackie agreed to. Of course, Jackie's gone, that's history. And one thing you can't change is history.
Well, I tell you, we'll come back and re-examine it with you on how to stop the leaves and stop the drainage. We'll do that.
I'd like for me and you to do that.
Well, Doug will do it. Doug's the man, and he's a very fair guy. In fact, he's very efficient. So we'll get together and talk to you about it.
Well, I'd like to at least be in on the conversation.
Well, yeah, you and I and Doug.
Because I did get an associate's degree in mining technology, and
I know.
primarily what they deal with in a strip mine is ditches and culverts and
I recall that conversation. You told me that out there. So
well,
we had a nice conversation. I thought it had all been settled. As far as the road going up, that still is not probably, in my book, is not a city street.
well, you know, I worked on that for about 18 years. John, my ex-brother, or the ex,
Still your brother-in-law, yeah.
yeah. I talked to him a lot about that situation, and every year he'd say, well, we're going to do this, or we're going to do that. And then he'd say, well, I couldn't get it in the budget, or Short Brothers went up double on their asphalt, and this and this and this. And I understand, and I don't want to make, you know, he's my brother-in-law. I'm not going to come up here and say, boy, my brother-in-law is not getting my street fixed like I want him to. You know, I wouldn't get invited to a Thanksgiving dinner then. But this isn't something that's new, and it isn't something that I haven't made an effort to get done before. And I wanted to explain that to you in front of everybody, because if I misled you, I apologize.
I think we're right on the target. You're saying exactly what we agreed to do.
Okay.
That we're not doing anything on the street. Because that's not a public street, that's a public access. And the subdivision, when it came in, was not platted as a street. So whoever laid that out should have put a street in there, but he didn't do that.
Well,
If that's the case, my house should have never been hooked on city sewer.
No, that had nothing to do with that.
I'm going to turn this over to Adam then, and he can explain further if need be.
Well, he's welcome to explain it. He's been here before, and we understand his position.
I think you and I understand
We
it.
understand each other perfectly.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I guess my concern is why we let it go on, not as me, but why the city let it go on. I mean, I'm in the city limits, and I pay 7% of my tax bill goes to the city of Marion. I pay a city water, a city sewer, and I have a fire hydrant in my front yard. I mean, I didn't create this problem. I'm just trying to get a simple solution.
The solution is the person that put it in, Adam, should have put you in a street. They said, we don't.
Well, I didn't build,
Platted.
I understand that, but I didn't build the house.
Well, I know, but we
But
didn't.
it's kind of slipped on both. The subdivider let it slide and the city let it
I
slide.
don't think the city had a problem with that. He didn't plat it in subdivision, now Glenn would go further back than I, but it was not put in when we accepted, the city accepted that subdivision.
That whole side of that road's been accepted as a subdivision.
Yeah, but there was no street platted in there. There's no street platted up there to where you built your house.
I didn't build it.
Well, wherever you bought it.
But you've got to see my point of view. I mean, I live in the city limits.
I would love to have, I'm with you, and you know, you're welcome to build a street down through there.
Well, I guess you could annex me out of city limits and
Could do.
What is your complaint specifically?
that it's gravel. I mean,
What is gravel?
it's just gravel road. It's just a gravel
The
19.
streets, gravel?
Yeah, 400.
It's not a street, it's public access off of Fosse Road we're talking about. We've been over that 100 times.
What is public? What is public access? Because the only thing down there is my house. So what does the public need to get in and out of there for?
You have to ask the person who laid it out, I don't know.
Well, I'd say Glenn, or who laid that out?
It's either Murray Moore or I think John Crawford, one of the two.
Okay.
I'm not sure what.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Leon, how do you get to your house?
Sir,
How do
same
you
one.
get to your house?
I'm on the same street as Adam's on, or the same public access or whatever. The only thing is I live about 45 feet off of Fosse Road, and Adam lives
400.
40 feet.
Yeah, like 405 feet from the center of the room.
But the problem that I have is, and maybe you've allowed me back, I have a handicapped wife, and when it snows, well, fortunately, Adam lives in the area, or he didn't at the time, but his dad did. And I'd bring my wife home from St. Louis Hospital, and I couldn't get in my driveway. I couldn't get in. I asked the city fellow that was driving the truck, the snowplow, I said, would you just back up there, drop your blade, and back up and make me a path where I can get my wife to the hospital, or from the hospital? And he said, no. He said, I'm not going to do it because this is not a street.
I mean, you look at what the,
Okay. So Adam.
How many years ago, how many years ago that been?
probably about 4, because I plowed it that year.
He came along with a Bobcat on a trailer, and he backed off and cleaned my driveway so I could get my wife to the house. She's not able to step out of the car and get into my four-wheel drive truck, or I would have hauled her up there and that.
Well, this conversation could go on forever.
Yeah.
I understand that.
You've got a gravel,
And I'm not asking for asphalt. I mean, I would perfectly.
well, wait a minute. We don't know, is that a city dedicated street?
No,
It isn't a city street.
no.
Now, you said something about having public access.
Glenn said,
I think we'll look and see that there was a dedicated public street on that. Now, all subdivisions, the developer has to show the city plat. It was on paper as a street. The developer never developed it in accordance to the city standards.
Yeah, brought it up to code.
He did not bring it up to code. He was never brought up to code. The subdivision would have been accepted as a subdivision, did not have a street shown on the plat.
That's right.
Yeah, shown on the plat, but what's on the ground?
He never developed it. He dedicated it, and the city accepted the subdivision with showing a dedicated street. That was a given. The second part on it was, he just scattered some gravel through there and never put the curb and gutter or the asphalt on there that the specs and code called for.
Is that developer still in business?
Yeah.
No, he didn't spread the gravel, Glenn, I did.
Well,
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's
Well,
fine.
that doesn't matter.
That's fine.
But gravel was spread, but it was curb and gutter and the asphalt, which was the code requirement,
Right.
was never built.
Can't we go back and make them do it? I mean, it's,
That's what I asked the last time. I asked Steve if we could, because those lots before my house are still for sale. There's like 4 or 5,
Yeah.
look at the.
Well, I don't know, Steve, you think we might be able to get after this developer and make him comply?
I think every one of the homeowners there has a cause of action against him because he didn't develop it that way. But I don't think that the city has to take responsibility of a street that wasn't built according to the standards that the city has set forth. I don't think it's the city's responsibility to bring it up to standards. Now, the city can if it wants to. It is the developer's problem.
Yeah, well, we're talking about 45, 50 feet for him and 400 and something for you, is that right?
Yeah, 400, a little over 400.
Yeah, well, okay, I think we've beat this horse enough
Yeah.
now.
I'm assuming there was no bond kept. Usually there's a bond in place to make sure they build them.
My house built in 2000.
No, I doubt that.
what about, he has a concern about his handicapped wife. I mean, when it snows, can we not in good faith just,
Well, you plow it,
Okay,
it's all gravel, you're gonna pile it. That's why they won't. I mean, they're gonna make it worse.
oh,
Yeah, well, I don't
I see their point
understand
there.
what the city worker was thinking about, if indeed it worked out that way, but
I just
we
mean,
need to decide whether or not the city feels responsibility to do something with this street.
like I said, I don't,
Now, wait a minute.
okay.
Now, if not, then the city's not going to do anything. So what you're thinking, fellas?
Well, I've been very firm on it. If we put that street in for these people, what's the difference between that and Gary McGee, where we just had to put one on down to the.
But Glenn, that wasn't the same situation, was it?
Well, you got something started you can't do. I am not for putting in a street unless it's called for by the plat. And it was developed by the developer.
Yeah.
It's not up to us to correct
Okay,
it.
I think we're going to have to do some more exploring here, see exactly what has been dedicated and take it from there. And then your position, I think, is noted.
And I guarantee you, if you're asked to take some snow off your driveway, we would do it under my tenure. I wasn't over that. If I'd known somebody had told you that, we would have had a meeting.
But he did, and he said he had been told this is not a city street.
Well,
Who was that?
he said 4 or
Who
5.
told you that?
I don't know if he.
Okay, I think we've gone as far as we can go with that.
But I mean, from my perspective look at, my house is 17 years old. Look at what the city has collected off of taxes in 17 years. You understand it?
I appreciate that, and that
mean, it's just
has to be
fair.
taken into consideration, but there are certain legalities that are in place, and so we're going to check that out. What do you say, Jim?
Mayor, I had experience with this in the county, real similar situation, some old subdivisions that the streets were never built up to standard. And what we did, and I have to go back and look at that policy, but if the landowners was willing to pay for materials, the county would come in and supply the labor and equipment, fix them to whatever standard that was, then the county would take over maintenance. And we did that throughout the county in several places, but I talked to Adam a little bit about that.
Yeah,
you know,
and
depending on how much that was, he might be able to.
That's an option to be
That's an
considered, and
option.
I think it would be something we'll have to discuss. But I think we've gone as far as we're going to be able to go now, tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you both.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Who else has a question, or no one else has anything? We're on number 2.
The grant to,
Okay, what do we got here, Angelo?
yeah.
Second item goes all the way back, if you remember, it's been a year ago, time goes by fast now, we talked about the TIF money that's available for the different departments, and one Brent had pretty large project between TVing and lining sewers and manholes, and Kevin Scuda, I think he ran into one after they TV some areas, and that was the big thing of TVing it, find out what the problem is. I think what Brent then just, they hired Scuda Construction to come in and line some bad sewers that needed some repair right away. So I think that's on the agenda. One, it wasn't have to bid because he needed to do it really quick, but it's on the agenda because it's over a certain amount of dollar amount. So that's what that always goes back all the way back to that TIF projects that we allocated.
One thing me and Brent has also discussed, like some of these smaller projects that we don't necessarily have to bid out, moving forward, we're going to get some kind of mechanism in place to make sure that even these smaller projects are bid out so it can be on a more fair and equitable basis. So, but I mean, this is okay in this case.
Yeah, that'd be a policy we can
Right.
certainly consider. Okay. Ben, it's your motion that we pay Scuda Construction $12,704.
Yeah.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
And Mayor Butler.
Yay. Okay, Police Department.
Yeah, I'd ask Dawn to come up, and Police Chief Tom Deany to come up and talk about a couple of personnel issues.
Okay.
The first, the mayor board met, we tested, and the mayor board met, and we had one vacancy to fill. So the mayor board has elected to fill that with Steve Sloan, who is a Saline County deputy right now, but he's wanting to come to Marion. So he should start with us July 3rd.
You say he's a county
He
deputy?
was a Saline County deputy.
Oh, Saline County.
Yeah, for 9 years.
Was he replacing?
Brashear,
For sure.
yeah. Well, it was one of the new vacancies, and we had replaced it with an officer that didn't work out, so we're filling it again.
Okay.
Yeah, I did get to sit in on the interviews, and is an impressive young man and can hit the ground running, so I think that'd be my motion to approve Steve Sloan for merit board, as merit board suggests, for police officer.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Okay. Okay.
Secondly, animal control, we have 2.5 people, we have a part-timer down there. There really needs to be a supervisor, someone accountable down there 24 hours to where they're the person that's held accountable for everything that happens down there. And we go to and we can say, this is what we want done. And Shanna Askew's been there the longest. She's been trained, and she has had vet tech training. So we would like to give her a title of supervisor, give her a 30-cent an hour raise. And she, like I said, she'll be the one held accountable for everything that happens down there.
Where does the 24-hour work in?
24 hours.
Yeah, you said we got to have somebody 24 hours to know what's going on.
Oh, no, we just need someone down there that's accountable for what happens, not 24 hours. Just, she will be the go-to person so that we're not going to 3 different people for what we need done down there. And she will be held accountable for keeping the books, doing what keeping the paperwork.
Doing all that already.
No, it's just been kind of up in the air between two people. I know. He likes giving me a hard time.
Yeah, I think it's been kind of a shared.
Yeah, it's just been kind of a shared program. You can't have three bosses in one place.
Well, of course not. You have one boss.
Exactly. So we want to make Shannon the supervisor. She'll be accountable to me, and she's already working on making some changes down there to improve the way things are going. So.
Yeah, well, see how out of touch I've been. I thought this was all in place and was working smoothly. But
no.
Oh, been working good. It's going to work better.
Okay, so that's your motion.
That's my motion to have make Shannon Askew supervisor animal control with 30% an hour raise.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, what have we got going here, Commissioner Goss?
Well, we've had some bidding on our various overlays, and we received the bids in from SI Asphalt and E.T. Simons. The low bid was E.T. Simon for $546,000 and $2 was 69 cents. Estimate from Glenn or the Ziegler deal was $579,000. They came in about $30,000 less than the engineers. So we have that in the budget, and my motion to accept low bid from E.T. Simon.
How many feet of roadway will this give us?
This 4A.
I don't know, we measured that. We got the tonnage and all that on it, but you don't have the,
Quinn may have an estimate.
I don't think they look backwards in tonnage.
you want to get up and address this anyhow, Glenn, on the next item, you might as well.
I don't want to give you numbers on it, I can't remember the exact thing.
Yeah. Well, it's something we can check out.
It may change a little, it would change.
Yeah.
Okay,
I made the motion except Simon bid.
all right.
I'll second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Manella.
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay. Okay, what about South Market Street improvement?
Glenn, they didn't leave the bid in my packet for South Market Street. Do you have it with you? You want to explain what we went through here?
Isn't it on your desk, John?
I've got the printout of the,
That's it right there.
the bid.
That's the South Market Street bid. That's
Yeah, but
mine.
it doesn't show what I need on it.
John, you need mine.
You don't need that. Yeah, I got it here, yeah. But I want him to do it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, then I can read that one.
We opened up bids Friday at 2:30 on the repaving of the South Market Street project. 5 potential bidders pulled plans, 3 submitted bids. And if you have the bid tabs there in front of you, we had Hare Plumbing, E.T. Simons, and Samron. Those are 3 bidders. We broke it up into 3 sections, but under one contract. We had the road section, water section, and the sewer section. And the total estimate for the project was at $836,105. And if you look through there, the items 1, 2, 30 is paid for out of MFT. And there was 3 bids on that. The bids of Hare at $543, E.T. Simons at $493, Samron at $787. My estimate was $607,709. So E.T. Simons was the low bidder on that one. For the water main, that was items 31 through 57. And I had an estimate of $141,092. Hare Plumbing had $196. Simons had $149,673, and Samron had $144. And for the sewer, we made some last-minute addendum on that one, which we deleted the trench backfill, granular backfill, and went to flowable grout. And that raised the price up, but Doug Phillips and I in the street department wanted so it wouldn't have their settlements from the trenches across the road. And the estimate was $76,840. Hare bid $71,663. Simons had $132,247, and Samron had $127,280. So when you total them all of them up, E.T. Simons was a low bidder at $775, $37.98. And my estimate was $836, $105.50.
And just note that the high bid is $1,059,000.
Yes.
The salmon, and the middle bid is $812.
Yep.
There's a big spread there between $775 and the 1,000.
$836.
Yeah.
Well, we also had, I want to add too, we put out another addendum for a deductive alternate of boring the sewer laterals instead of open cutting the streets, tearing those out. And if you look at the alternate number 1 at the bottom, the low bidder of E.T. Simons, for the directional bore of the laterals, he had $19,800 as an add. The deducts was $47,758. So the sewer line would be deducted from that other amount of $27,958.45, which would lower the sewer amount that much by boring the laterals.
Then it looks like you ended up putting some line modified in here.
Yes, yeah, we did. 12 inches of line stabilization.
Water department.
Because our soil borings indicated that it was a very unstable soil, and I didn't want to put that brick down on it
Yeah.
with an unstable soil.
So it'll be line modified the whole length of the project.
From one end to the other.
Good, okay.
Now, we're also going to have I like to call a meeting of the homeowners and explain to them how the project's going to be organized, how we're going to do it. There will be some inconvenience. We need to let them know up front so there's no surprises.
Yes.
Now, I got one question. Tell me we're not going to do this on Market Street and I think it's from Marion almost back to College. We got busted up concrete. We're not going to do something with that. Tell
Has
me
nothing to do with brick.
Has nothing to do with the brick, but guys, why would we even think about, making this street what it needs to be after it's been, well, like I've said before, when you hit it at Allen, by the time you get to Marion, you got a cup of coffee, you got a quarter of a cup of coffee when you get up there. But, I mean, we still, I know that's something else that's got to come from different monies. Tell me we're going to fix that.
Well, we have a unit price for PCC pavement special, 8 inches on there. Now, I got a unit price on that. I can figure out how many dollars. I've put a tabulation sheet together of how this thing's going to, it's a traverse of a winding trail to how we're going to get the money, because we've got to have some gas tax money, we've got to have motor fuel tax money, and we're squeezing it really tight. I can calculate what it would take to replace that concrete back up to College Street. Right now, we don't have the funds. Now, we'll get them. Now, the other thing is, come June the 30th, we're getting no more MFT funds until the budget's passed.
By the legislature.
Yes. That's $38,000 a month, which is what we get in motor fuel tax. And we've got the money now. Even if we don't get $38,000 a month, we've got the money now to do what we have bid.
Well, I think we need to proceed with that, and we can always come back and take care.
We have a unit price for an add-on, and it's not a large quantity with all the brick. Now, if we add more quantity to it, we could negotiate a price with the low bidder, since we've added more quantity to what was a small item that was bid.
Now, are you suggesting that we put brick between Marion and...
No, I'm just, no.
You just wanted the pavement to be replaced?
I just hate to see us do this.
You want a finished product.
Yeah.
That's right. I hate to see us do this to this portion of the street and then leave 100 feet in crumbled, cracking concrete.
Yeah, but we can't let that delay the thing.
No.
Now, the alternative to that possibly, it depends on how bad it's beat up, were to bring in the edging machine and edge out to curb and gutter about 7 feet on either side and put an 1.5 inch overlay over it, which would probably be cheaper than tearing out all the concrete and pouring in 8 inches of concrete again.
Well, that's an option to be considered.
That's another thing we can consider.
Yeah, okay, well, we can get to that anytime, but right now, let's proceed.
It's starting to look like the intersection at Main and Court that needs to be addressed too in the future by IDOT.
Yeah.
I've talked to them about that already.
Yeah, okay.
And their statement to that effect is that when they get through detailing all the traffic from 57 up and down the street, they'll get in there and fix it.
Well, that's not until November next year, isn't it?
No, I think it's in November of this year.
Well, okay, it's in the future. Let's get rid of the immediate issue. What's your motion?
Make the motion accept low bid from E.T. Simon at $775, I think it is.
Yeah.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Vanella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
No.
Rest of it.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
And Mayor Butler?
Yay. Okay. Cinder Seal State Street from Morningside to Red Bull.
I like, Glenn, would you address this too? This is a test street that we put down. It's already down, but I'd like him to explain why and how it works.
Okay. What we did last year was we put on what we call micro seal over a lot of the asphalt streets. We paid about $2.90 a square yard, but we had a large volume. The normal going price for it's about $3.50 a square yard. E.T. Simon says we've got a process that we think is as good or better than maybe micro seal. We do it for $1.50 a square yard. Okay, before we jump in and do a whole bunch, we've got a section of State Street and said let's run us a test section and see what it's like. So they run it through there. It's all things, it's very good except one thing: when it gets very hot and cars make a turning move on it, it has a tendency to chew out some of the surface. Not a lot, but a little bit. We said we're not going to accept it with it functioning like that for the overlay of our streets. So they said, well, they brought the oil representative who supplies oil to them, and that was an anionic type of oil that's in there, and they said, we're going to go to cationic type, and they're going to put a section down next week in Jackson County and we're going to observe that to see, it's supposed to set up harder and be more firmer. If it works, we'll probably do more. If it doesn't work, we'll scrap it and go back to the micro seal that we used last year, but we can't do as many streets with that at 350 as we could with a $150 with the other type process. So that was a test strip to see what it was like. We tried it. We're not accepting it in the condition that it is now.
Is the other going to be $1.50?
Yes.
Okay.
Type of oil doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
But they assured us that it sets up faster, harder, and it doesn't affect by the heat like the anti-arc is.
Now, I'm hearing you say, that's news to me, that Red Road is not acceptable the way it is.
Well, we're not taking it to put it on Carbon and other streets.
Okay, but we've to approve a bid of 90.
Oh, yes, yeah, we agreed with the contractor that we would pay them for doing that.
Okay, I misunderstood what you said there.
What I'm saying is, in the future,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be with that same type of oil. Now, with a new type of oil, we'll look at it, evaluate it, and see if that works.
Good, okay.
I would hope that it would. We can do a lot more streets that
My
way.
motion to approve the $9,424 bid from,
So why not?
I'll second that.
yeah.
I'll second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss,
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay.
Now we got the water tower.
Let's talk about the Hill Water Tower.
And is prepared to talk about that also. You want to explain how we got here, Glenn?
Yes, okay. We originally worked for 6 months working out a lighting procedure to light up the Marion on the hill tower that you could see coming back either northbound or southbound on 57. We worked with the lighting company. They brought in some lighting experts, and they said, you'll put your poles here with this height, this type light fixture. You can, this will do the job. We did what they said. We lit it. We bought the bulbs, bought the lights, we put the poles in, wired them up, and they just, you can see the bottom part of Marion, but it never got right up to the very tip top.
I thought it made a very nice martini glass.
I knew I would say that.
Okay, and then we said, okay, then we're going to have to raise the poles up, get them up higher, move them back, and then we looked at the idea of painting Marion on that, what they call the dry stem, the vertical part of the tower, but we got the bulb up to the top. You got your straight part of your dry tube, they call it, and then the bottom part of your tank. And there's 69 feet of straight tank up there. You put 5-foot high letters on the southbound and the northbound approaches of that, it lights it up real good. And the painting company would come in and paint both sides with 5-foot high letters, Marion, on each side of the tank. They would scrape the paint that's on there now, clean it up, put the background paint on it, and put Marion on there and whatever letters we chose to do.
5-foot letters.
5 foot high.
How tall is that pipe or whatever?
It's 69 foot to the bottom of the bowl.
Okay, 69 feet.
And he said it would take 35 to 40 feet to put Marion on there.
Yeah, okay. Even with
Now, if you
5-foot
want
letters.
scripted letters, it's $1,000 more.
No, we're
Well, I think we can get by without that.
You never told us what, I think the last ones we put on there was about $6.50 a letter. Is that right?
I don't know. I can't answer that, Anthony.
Well, you know.
Yeah, but when he was putting the
I
tank,
think
he was
so.
there to paint the whole tank and the letter at the same time. He's got to come back, do his setup now.
Yeah.
Everything start all over again with painting just the letters. And that's why they,
Plus preparing the bulb.
Yeah.
Preparing
the tank, and before he was here painting the whole tank, and he had his crew and everything else. Now it's a move-in cost and move out, and just for the letters, Marion on each side.
Yep.
Okay,
My motion that we approve this bid of $6,800
I'll
for
second.
painting it.
motion made, second, call the roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay.
When are you going to get us some prices for that?
Do what now?
Are you going to get us some prices for that additional work?
On market?
No. On the water tower.
That is it.
$1,500 he just read.
That includes the lettering too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Who? It's TIF. It's TIF money.
Oh.
Oh, don't sweat it. It's not out of the water department.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's move on. Downtown restoration loan to Charles
Okay.
Jacob. What's this about?
We've had applications, the committee has met, Restoration Committee has met and approved this application. I'm asking council approval to award the grant to Charles Jacob for 108 East Main and also one for 110 East Main. That's two separate loans.
Wait,
How close is that to the Stanley
112.
building?
Huh?
Cross street.
Across right.
Oh, to match 108 and 112.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's already paid off. We made him one loan, and he has paid that off, I believe, has he not, Steve? Yes, sir. So he's had one and has finished it. He's asking for two more. So my motion, we approve that.
Is there funds available in that loan?
Yes, sir, yes.
Okay,
Second
motion,
it.
call the roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss,
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay.
I'd like to add, Bob, that on October 2013, just to update this, the city created an incentive program for the purpose of preservation and the restoration of the city downtown area.
Yeah.
And the incentive program provided that the grantee would receive a sum of $10,000, of which the grantee would repay to the city $5,000 at 3% interest over a period of 5 years. And to date, this will make 13 properties that have taken advantage of this. That's around this square. So, including, they try to make their curb appeal, including awnings, windows, doors, and general facade. That's just a part of our effort to beautify a historic segment of Marion. It's proved to be a worthwhile project. If you'd like to know the property that's asked for, it is John Brown's, Jeff Schupel's Band Room, Art Starts, the Pit Road, Jerry Ross's on the corner, Matt Throgmartin's Bicy Road, Ed Russell's Line Depot. If you haven't seen that depot, you should take a look. He's really made it look good. We had three, but Charles Jacob, Joe Lerner's Martini Joe, the Dwayne Verity Building, and Ivan Zwick Building. That's 13 improvements downtown.
Good program.
It's
Good
a
program. That's
Very
great.
successful. Okay, that's it.
Okay. What's this deal with Amanda Villa?
The library would like to recommend Amanda Villa for the position that was vacated when one of the librarians had resigned. And so this would be just a replacement for that position.
Okay, do we have anything on their salary?
It would be per library scale.
Oh,
The library has a wage scale. It's librarian one.
$11.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that was
It was on your attachment.
motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay. Okay, Chris.
Council, good evening. I've got, my first item is a part-time hire recommendation for the hub in the wellness and fitness department, and that's Ashley Franks for group fitness instructor at $15 an hour. In addition to that, a job classification of personal trainer at $30 an hour.
Does she get much business as a personal trainer?
We're working on increasing that program, so getting additional personal trainers, we hope through promotion and encouragement and to...
The fees that we charge for these activities come close to meeting the expense?
Yes, it's actually, their pay is 50% of what that market level of what we charge for personal training.
Okey-doke. Need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay. Scarlett.
And next one is a job classification addition. We have a current lifeguard who also is qualified to teach swim instruction, swim lessons, and that's Scarlett DeRoos. for swim instructor position at $20 an hour.
What's your pleasure?
I make a motion to hire Scarlett LaRusse at $20.
I'll second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss,
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay.
Okay, and item C, you have in your packet a rationale or justification for my request for a pay change for two job classifications that will help equalize, help assist us with filling those positions and hiring and maintaining those staff. And that's for two job classifications within basically the same department. And that's a child watch position that's currently at $8.25 an hour, currently at minimum wage. And then in the same department, there's a camp counselor position that's currently at $8.50 an hour. And we're looking to equalize those at what you have in your packet there at $9 an hour.
And I agree with that, because we got so many different classifications over there. It is a nightmare for our treasurer's office every 2 weeks.
That's right.
To figure out, this person worked 2 hours at this rate, this person worked 4 hours at this rate. I think next year, when it comes to budget, we need to simplify that, come up with just some figures. It's going to help some. It's, some's just going to stay the same. And we got to go with it, because, Steve, would you agree it's a nightmare? We spend more time on one department, the hub, than the rest of the city figuring their payroll.
Yeah. Granted, this won't solve that, and the purpose of this,
but I agree.
I realize that we do have to address that too.
Yeah.
But I expect we'll have various job classifications for what we do, that will be maintained. I don't know how to, and we can streamline certainly, but I really do think that we'll have multiple job classifications for the type of multi-departments, the nature of what we do.
Right.
And I think
easy having the same pay though.
Yeah.
That will help.
Yeah, for this one department, and also, the performance of this department, and we want to bring it up a little bit in this particular case to recognize the performance and get the right people.
You want to have the right people there too.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay.
I give you something to start thinking about, Chris, about consolidating all those rates, pay rates.
Is that
Okay.
child watch as needed, or you got somebody there?
That's child watch during specific hours, so they are scheduled and they're quite busy. There's a ratio that we have to maintain of one staff person per 15, so we have a double staff for 30, and we very often have 20 to 30.
You'll open though.
Yeah, the schedule is a specific schedule, morning and afternoon on weekdays, and then a Saturday morning. So we have specific hours that we have them there, and it's utilized. For our membership. Our members bring in their kids during their activity and their exercise. So,
Okay, thank you.
okay, thank you.
All right, what's this about Velma Thompson Kitchens?
Latina Poole, the director at the Senior Citizens Center, would like permission to have a substitute for the kitchen work at Velma Thompson at $8.25 an hour, just to sub when one of the other staff is absent.
Okay, what's your pleasure?
I'll make that motion, accept her.
Second.
Thompson.
Got a second? Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay. Okay, who can tell us about subdivision Morningside Phase 11?
That was on the agenda a while back, I'll talk today. He's on there a couple times, we talked about the one before approved, but I guess didn't find it.
Didn't find where it had been approved.
Thought we answered all the questions for the subdivision for that
I think you did.
project.
Talking about the drainage, basically.
There was a drainage question, there was a water pressure
yeah.
question, and I thought that was all taken care of.
I know we had a question on the water drainage out there.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a detention pond for the
Yeah.
development
Yeah.
that's specifically for this phase, and so
Yeah.
I thought it was approved, but I guess maybe it wasn't.
And we now have the plat that has been signed by the developer.
Okay, that being said, what's your pleasure?
I make a motion to accept Morningside Phase 11 subdivision plat as presented.
I'll second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Vanella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss,
Yay.
and Mayor Butler.
Yay. Okay. Tell us about the professional service agreement, Gail.
Okay. Item number 11 is an ordinance to amend the Marion Hillview Way TIF. In looking at developers, we have two developers that are starting projects, one on 17th Street, which is Roman Basie, and he is starting it will be a strip mall in an L design, and with at least eight stores, I believe. And it's going to be a rather expensive part because of the infrastructure work of bringing a sewer line in. There's no sewer line adjacent to the property, and it's going to have to come either from the south or the east. And one of the things that we had, when Roman was looking at this land and this thing, part of the thing was this land is currently in TIF 1. And behind that is also land that is owned by Drury Development. And Drury Development has plans for that land also, and it would also need a sewer line. So in discussion with the mayor and our TIF consultants, it was discussed if the city would amend this land to extend into our newest formed, the Hillview TIF, which has 22 years left in it. If we would amend this land and then it would come out of TIF 1, have a new assessed evaluation, and go into the Hillview TIF, the developers on those two parcels would have 23 years to collect an increment on, especially for the infrastructure, because the sewer line that they have to put in, which is a private project, will be rather costly, but it will also bring new businesses, maybe someday a new hotel, not in the current addition, but in future years, and a lot of new stores, so it'd help our sales tax. So as we have discussed with our TIF consultants and with Roman Basie, this would be a great project. The Drury would support it also to move this into and amend the Hillview TIF. The amendment would cost the city $15,000, but in 20-plus years, we'll recoup that in sales tax way over that. So this is just an amendment to have Jacob and Klein and the Economic Development Group to begin the process of the legal process of amending this TIF. And the steps are in the package. In your package, the various steps are on page 7 of all the pieces of amending a TIF. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Sounds like a winning situation to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll make that motion to approve ordinance 3385.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss,
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay. Okay. Consideration of proposed ordinance 3386. You want to tell us a little bit about this, Gail?
Well, I would like to, this was put together by Steve Green, and what this is this is a short-term vacation rental ordinance. And for, the mayor and I were looking at this today, and for the commissioners, I think I've got about 4 of these if you want to pass them down. This applies to especially internet-type rentals and people who currently rent their dwellings, either a room, a house, several rooms, or 2 guests over the internet. And this, the one I looked up, and there are a number of different sites that one can look at. The picture isn't printed off, but these residences are all in Marion. They advertise themselves as a nightly stay for a number of residents. They do not have any registration with the city as a bed and breakfast, a hotel, a short-term vacation rental, or if they meet the life safety code. I have on my iPad a number of pictures I'm showing the mayor of the website for Airbnb. And if you scan through it, the city of Marion, or Marion residents, have a number of sites that are listed, some being just a bedroom for rent. When we started talking about this, it was probably, I think, Commissioner Hightower, when we were at Illinois Municipal League, and they had those sessions on how cities were losing hotel tax because of internet rentals. So in order to try to gain some regulation for safety and some regulation for a licensing, our city attorney, Steve Green, has put this together. So if there's specific questions on the ordinance, our fire chief did look at it and felt, even by looking through some of these rentals, one house in particular had a dorm room holding 5 people, and we actually know the location of that one, and there's no fire escape if they rented it to 5 people, they would have probably a hard time getting out of a building if something happened.
So if anybody entered into a contract prior to us enacting this ordinance, will they be grandfathered in, or would that?
Legal.
The rental agreement would be before us, and we would not be able to do anything about it.
Because it'd be ex post facto.
Yeah, but for how many days? That would probably only be for 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
Because isn't that what we're talking about, or maybe up to a week?
Yeah, some of these places will rent for a week.
Yeah, so it isn't as though it were a long-term, 6 months or a year. Yeah, okay, Steve, do you want to give us a little more explanation of how this all evolved?
Well, we're not the only municipality that's looked at this, and we've had several meetings. You guys send me up to the home rule attorneys meetings on a monthly basis. There's been a lot of work that's been done by several of those attorneys on this issue too, which I've been involved in. This is an effort not just of mine, but several other lawyers who put this together. And it's based off a lot of different things that we looked at different cities from Ohio and Maryland, Evanston, Illinois, just different locations like that. Most cities are regulating this on a zoning issue because they have concerns about a particular place being in a residential neighborhood affecting the quality and nature of that residence. This doesn't do that, although the way that this is structured, the board, basically you gentlemen, would have the ability to measure whether or not it's going to have an adverse effect in the community. So one of the components of this is if I wanted to do this, I would be required to give notice to my neighbors that I intend to try to utilize my place of residence for this purpose, to allow them to give you gentlemen feedback relating to how they may feel about it and how it affects their neighborhood, so that when I come to you and ask for a licensing, you might be able to address the concerns that the citizens may have. For example, parking would be an issue potentially on some of our roads. If you had 5 individuals and they all came with, cars, parking may be an issue at that place if they're parking out on the street. So that gives you, quite a bit of leeway to decide whether or not at that particular location it would be appropriate.
Of course, law enforcement would get involved in that case, though. If it was a parking issue, of course, law enforcement would get involved in that case.
That's correct, too. But, I don't know, but perhaps someone says that it's my Aunt Petunia that's here, and they're only here for the weekend. It has been very popular to utilize the internet to make more money, whether it's Airbnb or, Uber. You just drive around and pick people up, and they've been skating, regulation and taxes that the cities have been able to collect. If you gentlemen decide that we're going to do this, then we will need to amend our taxing, the hotel tax statute, to include this as a subclass for this to be able to receive the tax that we would normally receive for a hotel room.
I wouldn't have any problem with doing that if we accept the overall concept.
Right. It's happening now and has been happening for quite some time. The real issue is whether or not you feel like we need to regulate it for the safety of individuals that come here.
Okay,
And
do we have any regulation on bed and breakfast operations now?
no, but this would kind of take the place of doing that. The bed and breakfast do pay taxes, except I've been told some of them have been utilizing the internet as well, and maybe we're not getting some of the tax monies because...
You know, I can see how people could make reservations on the internet, but still, somebody has to occupy the premises. And whether internet or in person, still somebody's occupying the premises. And when that happens, then the tax or whatever ought to, not only the tax, but the regulations should kick in.
I agree.
Now, how are these individuals, when they go renting out their rooms, and I think one of them's multi-storied, how are they going to fall under the International Building Code or the
That's correct.
Life Safety Code?
That's correct, and it's mentioned in here that they have to not just abide by that, but also ordinances affecting traffic safety, the police, the building codes. That's all mentioned in the ordinance. Instead of making it huge, I made references to the specific statute, well, the specific code sections.
Okay, now, is there a provision here for people to make an application?
Yes. They have to come to the city to get the application. They have to provide documentation that they've given notices to individuals that live in their neighborhood and provide that with us. Then, once that is all given to you, you have the ability to make a decision. And, you know, if there's a denial, there's an appeal process too.
To our knowledge, Steve, we don't have any, you know, looking at the internet or anything like that, anybody that's got a large lot in the city of Marion that's going to rent this to whoever or several whoever's for, you know, to place campers on, tents on, whatever, for this upcoming eclipse, because I know that's an issue in Jackson County, these people wanting to rent their farms, and, you know, people, when they eat and drink, then they have to go to the bathroom. Where's all this going to go?
This doesn't touch about just the rental of a undeveloped piece of land. If Steve Green had a lot, and I said to you, well, the eclipse is coming, you can pull a camper there. There are other regulations, such as nuisances, that would regulate that. Potable water is going to be an issue, for example. Waste is another example. But this does not address specifically those types of properties.
Okay, well, I'm not suggesting that we adopt this tonight.
If I could interrupt for just a second, Mayor. One of the things we were trying to get this in front of the council is so it would be enacted before our eclipse. Some of these places are already booked.
When is the eclipse? August 21st? And what's the date of today?
Well, actually, most of these places are already rented for that, and they actually doubled their prices. One place I found on the internet was renting for $300 a night.
Grandfathered in, they wouldn't, the regulation we adopt won't apply.
No, but what I'm still saying is that was our incentive to try to get it in front of the council, because there are still some places that are going to be, because there's a lot of discussion of people renting their whole house. And that hasn't come yet, but I'm sure it will.
Yeah, well, it looks like we're behind the curve action, but that shouldn't keep us from adopting something that needs to be adopted. And we can do that, I'm sure, before August 21st.
Well, I think, Mayor, in my opinion, we need to do this at our next council meeting at the very least. At the latest.
I agree. And when's the next council meeting?
I guess I got to ask you, is there...
Be July 10th.
Is there some reason you wouldn't adopt this?
I haven't had a chance to really go through and digest it. we got a 7 or 8 page ordinance that really is quite imperative, and I just cannot find myself.
But it was made up by a lawyer.
I don't care.
That's what worries him.
I have, yeah.
Being one himself, yeah.
See, I'm not like Nancy Pelosi, pass it and then read it. No, I'd like to read it first and then pass it. There may be some changes I'd like to make, but I don't know because I haven't had a chance to digest it. So,
Steve, we had someone wanting to pitch a tent in their backyard recently here in Marion, and to rent it out. Would this stop that, or they can still do that?
Building codes would.
We don't have a time limit on how long you can leave a tent up?
Yeah, this would not address tents, no, sir. But there are other ordinances, I think, that we have in place that would be able to be utilized to regulate that.
He wanted to rent it out behind his house,
Yeah,
tent.
right. Well, could happen.
our next council meeting is when?
Just like they do other rental properties within the city limits, like if it's VRBO, vacation rental by owner, the city would inspect those properties prior to the authorization to accept tenants.
Yes.
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 You know, a fee and a regular rental inspected.
That is some of the things that I want to consider to see what's in this, so you understand why I'm reluctant to bring it up now. But let's see, when's our next council meeting?
July the 10th.
July 10th. Well, that's not too far off, 2 weeks from now, roughly. I think we ought to shoot for
Yes.
July the 10th.
I agree.
Okay, sounds good. All right, anybody have anything else that we need to take up?
I need to pay some
Not,
bills.
you got anything?
I make a motion to pay the monthly bills as funds become available.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss,
Yay.
and Mayor Butler.
Yay. Consent agenda?
Yes. Make a motion to pay the consent agenda.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss,
Yay.
and Mayor Butler.
Yay. Anything else?
That's all.
Angelo?
No.
Yeah,
Jim?
the police report for May, city ordinance violations, we had 31. We had 36 warrant arrests, 402 incidents reported, 122 traffic accidents, and 5 DUIs. So it was busy in May.
I think there must be an epidemic. I can remember when we only had 1 DUI a month, and now we've jumped to 5. There's something wrong with that picture. Boy, thanks for the information. What do you got?
I have nothing there.
Okay, I think a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss,
Yay.
and Mayor Butler.
Yay.
Well done, Mr. Mayor. You got us through here in early time.
Go light.